Hello and welcome. I'm out here at my Rossmonster Baja. You can see it behind me. And in today's video I want to talk about some parts that a lot of people are probably forgetting when they see these type of adventure rigs. Let me just step back a little bit so that you can see the rig in its entire size. So it's a large vehicle, over 12,000 pound permanent weight, and that is where I want to start today in regards to what is the cost that most people potentially forget when it comes to buying one of these vehicles and hitting the road. And the reason why I'm talking about this is my truck has reached over 30,000 miles, and well, the suspension needs some work. And you want to have 31,000 miles. That's not normal for a vehicle to need suspension work. So, well, it is actually if you have one of these heavy vehicles, because as you can see here, this thing is sitting on king shocks, and of course there are the coils as well. You see those as well, but here are the king shocks, and well, they carry a lot of weight permanently. The same is in the rear. So while I have leaf springs in the rear, the suspension is a combination of leaf springs and shocks, and the shocks wear out much quicker, much faster in comparison to a normal vehicle that doesn't carry that much weight. So these shocks need to be rebuilt, and that is, I want to say, you should say an inconvenience. You could say it's like, well, nobody told me about this before. Well, I'm telling you now, with these heavy vehicles, if you have a suspension that is built on these type of shocks, and that has nothing to do with the company that makes these shocks, that's just in general, these type of suspensions need some maintenance. So what does that mean? The vehicle sits on the suspension. When you carry that much weight, the suspension has to do more work. There's oil in these shocks, and that oil is doing a lot of work. And the quality, or the, I want to say, the oil itself changes due to the pressure, due to the work, due to the heat. And when you drive with your vehicle in general, the suspension moving creates heat in the shocks, and that degenerates the oil, and really then the quality of the suspension goes down. And these shocks need to be rebuilt. So what does that mean? So that means the oil is being replaced. It's almost like an oil change. And the valves and fittings and seals are being replaced. That's usually how it's being done. And then they need to be reset for a certain pressure. And well, these were custom tuned shocks that came like this from Carli for Rossmonster. I have a little more weight on it than they were set up for. So when these shocks are being rebuilt, then I want to make sure that the appropriate weight is put into the calculation to set this up. In my specific case, I already have a custom leaf pack on there. Well, not fully custom, but semi-custom. And I'm considering to change that entire leaf spring pack in the rear to get the suspension fully, I want to say, customized for this vehicle, but that is TBD. So for now, it's like, okay, the shocks need to be rebuilt. How much is that going to cost me? How much time? So the cost is not that dramatic. I've seen estimates between $200 and $300 per shock. I still have to figure out, one company is saying they can do this with the shocks installed. I don't know how good or bad that is, so I need to spend more time, more research, identifying the entire procedure. I also had, if you go back into my videos, you saw that my steering stabilizer broke, and I talked to Carli at that point and also bought the replacement parts. They gave me the contact information for somebody that does this process. I need to reach out to that person and identify, okay, what do you need from me? How long do you need my vehicle? Can we do this in a day? Or is my vehicle out of commission for a little bit? Those are the things you need to plan for. The same thing if you have like a different suspension on your vehicle, be it like with airbags. Airbags wear out over time as well, and especially if you're using them permanently. I mean, some people have the airbags, leave the air out, they only use it when they carry a lot of weight. But when you carry that much weight, they work more. If you look at like the vehicles like the Earth Roamers, they're around 20,000 pounds. and they use the Kelderman air suspension, if I'm not mistaken, with airbags. I don't know how long those airbags last, but when you buy one of these vehicles, that's something to consider, especially if you buy one of these vehicles used. And that's probably the bigger thing. I mean, if you buy an Earthroamer new, the suspension is not a problem for you. But if you buy a used Earthroamer, or if you buy a used Rossmonster Baja, you want to make sure that the suspension has been rebuilt depending on the mileage of the vehicle. Or if you buy a vehicle that has 20,000 miles on it, well, you can probably expect that your suspension slowly needs some work. And not every vehicle carries the same weight. Not every vehicle is used as heavily. So if you just drive on the roads, there's less usage on the suspension compared to when you go off-road. It's still usage, but it's a little less. So you might get more miles out of your vehicle. My suspension was put in at around 4,500 miles because I bought my truck first and then gave it to Rossmonster for the conversion. But if you buy one from the factory, then yeah, you need to pay attention to your mileage. And again, this is not just a Rossmonster specific maintenance that you need to keep in mind. This is for any vehicle. I don't know the exact maintenance schedule for liquid springs, but I've seen enough reports in different online forums and groups where liquid springs, depending on the year what you have, might require more replacements. The GXV Hilt, as an example, if you go into the users group, there are quite a few people that are talking about problems with the liquid spring suspension. And I mean, liquid springs is around for many years, so I assume it's really just a maintenance issue or an installer issue, not necessarily a quality issue with the product itself. So when you buy or build your own vehicle, you need to make a decision in regards to the suspension. And yeah, if you think of something where it's like, okay, you want to have the least maintenance need for it, well, what is the expected mileage? Is liquid springs the better option compared to an air ride suspension or to a traditional suspension with leaf springs and with regular shocks? And maybe you need a better set of leaf springs, be fully customized to your vehicle's weight and not just a standard pack. So different thoughts you need to put into, and it's a big maintenance item. Let's talk about the next maintenance item. So I have 37-inch tires on here, and I had them recently rotated. The front looks, yeah, this section here looks actually pretty decent. The rear looks a little different. It looks actually a little better, so not too bad. When you buy these vehicles, 37-inch tires like these are easier to get compared to, let's say, the 41-inch or 43-inch tires, or even larger. The cost of these tires is expensive. So here you're looking at $400 or $500 per tire, potentially, and depends on what you buy. In my case, I have the Toyo Open Country RT Trail. I will not buy those again. They're great in the dirt, they're great in the desert. They suck in rain and snow. When I drove to Colorado in the snow in winter of 2025, that was not fun. That was actually very scary because the truck was, almost slipping and sliding, and I will switch to a different tire, getting away from the Toyo Open Countries, at least the RT Trails. Should you have a larger tire on your vehicle, it becomes even more challenging. So for one, you might have to order those tires and have to make your decision. So because they're not always in stock, it's not as easy to get them. Then you have to look at the speed ratings. I think there are new tires coming online for the 41, 43-inch tires, and with higher speed ratings that you can go up to 80 miles per hour or even more. Those tires are noisy, and I mean, when you have the higher speed ratings, the tire itself, the rubber mix, is much stronger and harder, so the ride might be a little less comfortable. Just things to consider when you look at tires and make a decision when this expense comes, what you're going to do. Same thing is, you need to find a place that can actually give you an alignment and get the tires balanced properly. Less a problem with the 37-inch tires, but if you have the larger tires, you need to make sure that you have a shop that actually can balance those tires properly. You will have bead locks in most cases, and that requires a different type of maintenance and a different type of, I want to say, knowledge when you bring the vehicle to a shop to get the tires replaced. So different things, but anything that comes with driving the vehicle, you really have to think about. The cost is always there. It's never getting cheaper after you buy the vehicle. These larger tires, the 41 tires and up, I've seen them between 600 and 1400. I'm not an expert in those tires, so I cannot tell you if that's good or overpriced. But there's Shelby, just in case you're wondering where she is. There she is. And wanted to just point it out. When you buy a vehicle, think about what you do in regards to maintenance. There's of course a lot of maintenance, but I want to just talk about specifically the suspension and the tires today, because those are the items that wear out quicker than others potentially. And it's something that you need to consider. I wasn't necessarily aware of the cost of that these shocks need to be rebuilt. I was surprised how quickly I need to rebuild these shocks. So that's probably one of the things I was not informed about or did not inform myself about it. And I think it's important that you know when you buy an expensive vehicle like this and you do fun stuff with it like I do, then there is a price that you have to pay, and that price comes in earlier maintenance and maybe a higher cost maintenance in comparison to a regular vehicle. Especially if you drive like a van or something, it's probably not a good thing to compare a van to an expedition vehicle that goes off-road quite a bit. Yeah, that shall be it for this video. Really just looking at the shocks, looking at the different options. Consider when you go into that moment of maintenance, maybe it's time to also get a different set of leaf springs, or what has been working great from the suspension perspective and what not so much. When you make the change or when you pay the money, I mean, I could go and say, okay, let's put some different shocks on there, get the other ones rebuilt and sell them to get some of that money back, but that's not the point. So for me, it's really more buy an expensive vehicle, understand that you have to pay for certain maintenance that is much more often in comparison to regular vehicles. So that's it for today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so as well. And then I would say I'll see you next time in my next video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.